I know I've sent y'all one or two videos about acquisition gains using individual antibodies, and also how you might be able to do it just using leftover sample from a patient to adjust. So here again we're going to go through step by step, running a sample, realizing gains need to be adjusted, and how you can use the leftover sample to work with changing those and getting them where we really want to see them. Okay, so I've already set up and run a bone marrow sample, as we see here. So what I'm going to do next, I have here this tube 1 highlighted already. So I'm going to click here on the little picture of the single tube with a plus. And that gives me a tube 5 down here. It should be a duplicate of the tube 1. And if you're not sure, you can come over here and see. Alright, it's 20 PC7 and 3 PC5.5 lambda. So that is the antibodies in our tube 1. The other way you can verify that is to come up here to the settings, set label, and there you see what antibodies are currently assigned to this tube. And so that is the antibodies in tube 1. So we are good to go there. Okay, so before I run it, I want to click on the acquisition setting. We're not going to change anything. We're going to keep it as whatever you had chosen to run the experiment originally. I know Steve would like to see, at least in one instance, the FITC, PE, and PC5.5 gains increased some. So we're going to increase those 3. Let's start by 20. So we'll highlight this and change it from 139 for the FITC to, let's go to 159. Okay, for the PE, you're at 411, so let's try 431. And the PC 5.5 was at 27, so let's try 47. Okay, you also can change these manually with the gain hand while it's running. But that can get a little messy. I'm just going to show you this way too if you don't like using the hand and you want a more precise changing by numeric. So we can leave this window open while we're running the sample. Okay, and so now we're ready. I'm going to just double check here, 125,000 events. One thing I mentioned in an email to some of y'all, I may not have done it when I was there, but under events to record, I like to have it at 125,000 events, but make sure you change this box. I probably left it defaulted to all events, so change that to where it's looking at WBCs. That way it will continue to collect events until you have 125,000 events in this WBC gate, whereas otherwise it would just collect 125 total events, whether it was in this gate or down here or over here, whatever. So when you do that, you run the risk of, especially if there's a lot of debris or a dead cell, a lot of dead cells in it, or oh my goodness, just other things, nucleated red cells, unlicensed red cells, all of that would show up down here, and so you would reach 125,000 events super quick. So in order to get 125,000 true white blood cell events, then we'll set the gate to look like this. I hope that makes sense. Please ask questions if it doesn't. Okay, so when we run this, we're going to now look and we're going to collect 5,000 to 10,000 events, and then we'll hit stop, and we'll increase another increment and collect 5,000 to 10,000 events, and we'll do that for maybe 3 different settings. Okay, so I have tube 1 here, tube 1 here, and again, always important, if you're not sure which tube you have, if it doesn't say on the label, you can look on the tube here. And so this one does have up there the kappa 8, lambda 4, 45, 3, and 20. So make sure you're running the right tubes in the right order. So in this case, tube 1, tube 2, tube 3, tube 4, that doesn't mean the first tube you run, the second tube you run, the third tube you run. It's specific to tube 1 being the kappa lambda tube. Tube 2 is the 510 tube, tube 3 the 3338, tube 4 the 15117. So it's okay if you run them in any order, but if you pick up the tube 4 tube first and want to run it, make sure you select tube 4. Okay, so we're going to do tube 5 here, which is really a repeat of tube 1. Okay, and you actually can change that here. And we'll say 2, we'll make it the BM646 T1 10 increase. I'll just put IN for increase. Okay, and that way it won't overwrite the data up here. It'll be easy when we go to analyze to tell which list mode files I want to look at. Alright, so we're going to hit run. And so now regardless of how the data looks here, I'm just going to let it run and collect some and then hit stop. I'm not going to mess with the comps any. I'm not going to adjust gains any while it runs. Okay. We'll let it go a little bit more. 9,000, 10,000. Okay, we'll stop there. Okay, and so already I can tell just from me looking, I see better separation here of the 20 and the 3. Where is the PE? The PE looks okay. It'll be a lot easier to see too when we actually analyze the data. So now what I'm going to do is I'm going to select this tube, hit the little tube with the plus again for another new tube. So see, it duplicated that, but now I'm going to change this to 20. I'm not sure what that is. Yeah. Oops, not 220 increase. Okay, so then over here, oh wait, over here we did increase 20, so let's change that to 2. So now I'll change this, oops, doesn't like duplicate name. Change this one first. I'll change that to 40, because now it'll be 40 higher than it was originally run, and that was 20. Oh. So when I go to analyze, I'll have to change that list mode file. Okay, so we're going to come here and add another 20, so from 159, 179. Okay, why is it not, oh, because I'm on the wrong, so it wouldn't let me change it because I was on a tube I've already run. So let's go back here and click that one. Now I'll be able to change the numbers. 179, and we changed the PE, so 451, and we changed the 5.5, so 67. Okay, so now we'll run and collect 5 to 10,000 events for this setting. Okay, so what you can see here is you're getting a little bit more diagonal here. So when you change the gains, it's going to change your compensation values. So that's why I'm not worried about trying to adjust everything right now. I'm just letting it run and collect, and then I'm going to analyze it and look later. I'm short on sample too, that's why I'm not adjusting while it runs. Okay. Alright, and let's do one more. So in here, I'm going to do the duplicate. I'll change this name here. So we'll go up 60. 260, and this is an increase of 60 from what we originally ran, right? So now the FTSE will change from 179 to 199, PC 5.5 to 87, and what else was I doing? PE from 451 to 471. Okay, and again, we'll just run it and collect. Alright, so do I see any difference looking? Let's see, this was the last one we did. The one before that. The one before that. And the original. So slight differences looking at it right now, but we'll go ahead and look at it when we analyze and see what the difference is, and see if we find one that Steve likes a little better. Okay, so let's say we've analyzed it and Steve said he liked the one where we increased 60 from what we originally did. Okay, so if you don't have that experiment open, you can just go and do File, Open Experiment. I still have this one open now, so I'll just cheat and use it. So I want to go to the one, if he said he liked the last one we did better, I'm going to click on that, and then I am going to have to remember how to do this. Go over and click Acquisition Setting Catalog. Nope, that's not what I want to do. I want to open the Acquisition Settings menu. Okay, and so here's what we ran that tube with. You can see as you click other tubes, those numbers change, right? Okay, so when you're saving the acquisitions, make sure you are collecting from the correct tube. All right, so say these are the ones we're ultimately going to do. We're going to now click Export to Catalog, and again, that was from coming here, selecting the tube you want, coming up here, clicking Acquisition Settings, and now we're going to do Export to Catalog. Okay, and then you're going to name it, let's see, gains. You can put today's date, you can say updated date, gains, name it whatever you want to know that these now are the new gains you want to use when you run your next sample. Okay, so you would click OK, and then close. So now when you, let's see, let's go ahead and clear this out. Experiment modified, save it, I'll hit yes in case. Alright, so I'll say I'm going to run that again, so I'm going to do a new experiment from template. So browse, and this is just like you normally do. Here, it's already in the correct folder. So I'm going to call this for me BM646 New Gains. Browse, and then I want to get my acquisition protocol. Load my panel. Okay, so what I want to do now before I run it to make sure I don't forget anything, and this would be too if you ever wanted to change events to record and which gate to look at on a permanent basis. Before you start running data in this, after you've loaded a new one, go ahead and make your changes. Change this here, change the collection gate here if you want, you know, your sample flow rate, whatever you want. If you wanted to change comps, you could click here, the comp matrix, and pick whichever one. You could import from library, pick the comps that you want. You know, I don't want to change comps on this one, so I'll leave them there. But now you can come up here, click Acquisition Settings, okay, and instead of recommended or leaving what it's set at, we're going to import from catalog. Okay, and this is what I named the ones we just, you know, we're pretending that's the ones he likes. So click that, import those. It's telling me you're changing the gains of these three. That's what I expect, so okay. Okay, close that. And then you can either come down here and right click and do the Apply Acquisition Settings. Well, it's only going to let you apply to tubes 2 and 4 for some reason. So I'm going to do this the long way. Okay, select tube 2, acquisition settings, same thing, import from catalog, and I want the ones we just saved. Okay, tube 3, same thing. Import from catalog, gains, import, okay, and then tube 4, and again you see those change to back, so import from catalog, click our new gain file, import, and close. Alright, so now we have the correct new gains for all the tubes. And before I run them now, I'm going to come up here and say File, Save as Template, and you're going to navigate to wherever you're storing yours, so it's the desktop, Acquisition Protocols, and right here, DuraClone panel, February 18th. I made some modifications earlier just to test, so I'm going to click that, there's the name, hit Save. So it's saying it's already exists. Do you want to replace it? Yes, I want to replace it at this point. Okay. All right, so now anytime you do a new experiment from template, it's going to load with those acquisition settings and the compensation values currently applied. So that's what I mean by you don't need to always set those every single time. If you've saved it in your template, you can just load your template and be good to go. Although it is always good to just double check. Alright, so I know that's right. And close. Okay, so now we can go ahead and run it, all 4 tubes, run a few just to make sure we can analyze and that it does, the new settings look good. Okay, so I'm going to add BM 646. Okay, and I'm going to say T1 new games. Okay, and if you want to make sure you don't forget to rename them, you can just do all of them real quick. 2. Tube 3. Tube 4. Alright, okay, so now we're ready. Tube 1. Tube 1 is what I have in the carousel. So we'll hit run. And record. And while I'm sitting here waiting now, I will adjust any comps I see necessary as running. Okay. That's 10,000, that's good for now. Okay, we'll go down to tube 2 and run a few events. See now this one, that comp looks low for that too. Let's bring that up. And if we are running this brand new, I would collect the full 125,000 events. I'm just trying to run a few from each tube so that when I sit down to analyze it, I get a good feel of how it looks for all of the tubes. Because again, we want to be running all 4 tubes using exactly the same gain values. You don't want to run tube 1 at one gain setting and tube 2 at a different one. The only time you want to use different gain settings if you're using maybe running a cytoplasmic panel instead, which y'all aren't there yet, but hopefully we'll get y'all there pretty soon. Okay. And this one I accidentally almost ran dry earlier, so we're not going to get as many events as quick because I had to add more of the PBS at the end. And so we're going to hit stop. Okay, so the next thing I'm going to do is I'll load these into the Calusa template and I'll analyze them and I'll discuss with Steve what settings he likes better. And then we can update those from there. So, what I would like you guys to do, if you have gotten feedback from Steve or any of your hematopathologists that they're not happy with some of the gains, then set up a sample and run it through as is, whatever gains you're currently using. And then with the leftover sample of that same one, do what I just did. Duplicate the tubes and try changing the settings at different, either increments of 10 or increments of 20 or 50. Just try a couple different ones, collect the data, save it, upload it into the portal, or make it where it's available that we can look at it, and then we can analyze it with you as well and let you know what you should be changing and saving those new gains to. Alright, I still owe y'all analysis videos and they will be coming. So I hope to have that to you soon. Have a great day.